having the opportunity to lead our North America client success team and having the opportunity to work with so many brands and retailers to help turn that consumer voice into something that consumers can trust and getting that authentic lens out there is something that we take a lot of pride in at Bazaarvoice. And we help brands win across the entire customer journey. And we do that by turning authentic consumer voices into drivers of trust, engagement, and ultimately conversion. And that spans from ratings and reviews to creator and influencer content, social and video commerce. And our focus is on helping brands connect storytelling and performance in ways that are scalable, data-driven, and built for how consumers actually shop. And that's exactly why I am so excited about this discussion today, because the leaders joining us today are at the forefront of building modern brands, ones that know how to balance brand, community, culture, and commerce, all at the same time. And we have an incredible group here today. So to kick us off, we're going to go down the line and give a brief introduction, and then we'll jump into some great discussion.
Hey there, I'm Kathy Maurella and have the pleasure of being the Chief Marketing Officer of Waterloo Sparkling Water.
Hey everybody, Katelyn Zborowski. I head up the brand strategy and calendar planning arm for the Pizza Hut US business.
Hi everyone, I'm Erica. I'm SVP of Brand at Bloom Nutrition. I lead brand, product, and creative marketing at Bloom.
My name is Marcus Collins. I'm a marketing professor at the Raw School of Business. I study culture and its influence and impact on human behavior.
Wow. Okay, this is so cool. I'm so excited to be here and have a chance to just have a discussion with each of you. And today, before we jump in, I want to know, what flavor Bloom do we have?
Well, I'm so glad you asked. This is our newest peach pineapple Bloom Pop. It just launched yesterday, and it's really good. I think we have some available in all of these coolers.
That was well done. It was really well done.
Oh, amazing. Okay.
Plan.
Yeah, well done.
Peach pineapple. I can't wait to try that one out. That's awesome. All right. Well, to kick us off today, let's start talking a little bit about the human litmus test. And so the title of this session is actually Crafting Brands That People Care About. But if we're being honest, I say this actually, some people might not wake up thinking about pizza. Some might. And some actually do wake up thinking about sparkling water. That's me. I like to call it the good burn. I love a good Waterloo in the morning. And so with that, Kathy, Katelyn, and Erica, how do you guys distinguish between a brand that is just useful and one that actually feels human? And what is one thing that your brand does that has nothing to do with selling a product, but everything to do with earning trust?
Well, I'll start. 57% of our consumer base starts with their first Waterloo before noon. So Amy.
Okay, I'm in.
You're on your game. I think one of the things I'd say too is as we think about the brand, we've actually started with foundational research when the brand was only about 2 years old. And everything we end up doing is really built off of that, whether that's trying to find and meet the consumer where they already are, which means our partnership with Austin FC right here, learn through all the insight. We have a lot of people that are loving MLS. So it made sense to partner in the homeland with Austin FC. We have a relationship with the New York Rangers in Madison Square Garden. Where did that come from? Understanding our consumer base. So really one of the things I'd say is making sure that our partnerships, our relationships, and then everything we do is finding where the consumer is versus talking at them. And I think that ends up drawing a nice connection back from the brand all the way to how the consumers actually live their lives.
I love that. I think partnerships being relationships is so important. So I love that. How about you?
I mean, to me, the human litmus test as both a consumer and a marketer is it really boils down to, does it make you feel something? And feel something positive. I should probably add that piece, hopefully. So that's really it for me. And then what we really try to do, and, I'm going to be vulnerable that I think we need to ramp it up. We need to keep doing a better job, but we are starting, is you have to show up where your fans and consumers are showing up, and you have to show up in the way that they would want. It really doesn't matter what we want and how we would like them to behave. You might be able to make baby steps towards that, but first you have to show up authentically, real. You have to make them feel something positive, and it has to make sense, or else, frankly, it just falls flat, and I think you dig yourself a hole and then you have to climb out of.
Absolutely. How about you, Erica?
Love that. Can you guys hear me? Okay. For us, I would say it's about building emotional connection between brands and people. And we do that by building a brand instead of just selling a product. For us at Bloom, it's really important for us to build community and to add value to the community. And we do that by listening to them, getting feedback. We do a lot of in real life events, a lot of partnerships, things that would add to their daily life beyond just the product.
Amy, can I contribute to that?
Please.
I mean, I think that those responses are so brilliant and spot on. For me, I think about well, what is a brand? Every marketer in this building has said the word brand 50 times today already. We talk a lot about brands and what they should do and what they should not do. But I always think about what's the underlying physics of brand? What are brands at their core? Brands are identifiable signifiers that conjure up thoughts and feelings in the hearts and minds of people. Brands are vessels of meaning that conjure up affects and cognitions in the hearts and minds of people relative to a company, a product, an organization, institution, a person, an entity. So if brands are vessels of meaning, the question we're asking ourselves is, what do we want our brand to mean? Do we want our brand to be bubbly water? Do we want our brand to be bread with tomato sauce and cheese? I mean, truthfully, because for too long, we equate our brand to the category. We say, my razor's sharper, my battery lasts longer, my car goes faster, my shampoo will get you laid. I don't know. But there are brands that say that, by the way. And the idea there is that we want to be the brand that gets you laid. And therefore, you should buy our shampoo. And the idea there is well, yeah, that's if you define yourself by the category. The most powerful brands transcend the category. That they're more than a razor blade. They're more than sneakers. They're more than water in a can. But they exist because they have a point of view about the world. And I choose that brand, not because it tastes better, it fits better, it looks better, but because it's an extension of who I am. That is to say, how the meaning that I want associated with my identity, I use the brand to project that about me. And therefore, the brand's meaning becomes a badge, a receipt of identity. Those brands, those are the most powerful brands, and you all are shepherding those brands. And many of you all are also. And I would suppose, if I could give any urgency, is that we got to transcend the category. We got to think less about the value propositions, less about the differentiators, but think about distinctiveness. And what distinctive means is that we stand out in the minds of people, not because of the category, but because of the point of view the brand has.
I mean, that was a mic drop moment right there. And I can't...
Listen. I'm just co-signing all the brilliance that's been had here. That's the benefit of going last. I'll tell you, it's the benefit of going last. That's the benefit, I'm telling you.
Well, I think we all should get to spend some time with Professor Marcus here throughout this time. That was absolutely incredible. And I think you're right. You do have to transcend the category. And that is what is memorable. That's what makes that connection. It's what makes the vessel stick.
Yeah, I do this exercise with my MBA students where I put 3 fleece jackets on the screen and I cover up the logo. And I say, to whom do these jackets belong? And 100% of the time, they get it wrong. They might be wearing the jacket, and they get it wrong. And then I reveal them, and they go, oh, yeah, totally. It's but as soon as you see Patagonia on that fleece, it just feels a little warmer. It fits just a little bit better. That's because the meanings of the brand, they signal, they conjure up affects and cognitions in us. And therefore, not only do we choose them, but we're also willing to spend a premium for it. And for marketers who are in the business of getting people to move in an effort to drive commercial value, that is unbelievably powerful.
You're right. I cannot disagree with that one bit. All right, so let's think a little bit about disruption. It's easy to put on a slide. It's terrifying to execute if you're actually trying to make this disruptive moment. And so you've written exclusively about how culture is the greatest driver of behavior. And Erica, with Bloom, they have lived by leaning into the creator economy in a very bold way. And when you're at the table and a bold idea feels like a risky one, maybe it's one you don't necessarily want to pitch to your leadership or to stakeholders, how do you use data or cultural insights to find the courage to say, nope, we have to do this one?
I think I borrow from the great ad man, Dan Wyden. Dan Whiten said that creativity is subversion. It's taking what is and bending it, contorting it, turning it over, bending it backwards. That by its very nature gets you to something new and therefore ergo disruptive. The impact of disruption happens when it's aligned with the cultural machinations, the cultural conventions of a given group of people, and creators become a perfect opportunity to get intimate with the group of people because they are of the people and they're creating cultural production by which those people express themselves. So the data at our, the thing is about data is that, we have data out the wazoo, like reams and reams and reams of data. But though we have more data than ever before, our ability to extract insights from said data, it's incremental at best because we mistake information for intimacy. And so for brands who get close to communities, who, partner with Sherpas to lead them through it, i.e. creators and influencers, you get a level of nuance that zeros and ones just don't provide. Like data doesn't have an opinion. People do. And the way that data is translated is based upon the cultural frames of a given group of people. So I think intimacy is always the way to go.
Erica.
Awesome. For us at Bloom, I would say courage is not about just throwing caution at the wind or going with a purely gut feel, but it's about taking calculated risks. And to take a calculated risk, it comes down to 3 things for us. Number 1, is it authentic to your brand? Like, does it tie back to your brand DNA, your brand pillars, and where the brand vision is? Number 2, does it resonate with your consumers? Like, we are fortunate to know our consumers at a very deep level, and you want to make sure it is aligned with what they want from the brand and what they expect. Finally, number 3, is your own team excited about it? Because we are so fortunate to have a really passionate team at Bloom. Shout out to the Bloom team who are here, but very passionate, very talented. And to me, the ultimate test is like, is your own team who's actually working on the project, are they excited about it? And if you can have all 3 of those filters checked off, then you have a pretty good case. If you can bring all the data that you want and, the consumer data and the surveys and all of that stuff, and you bring that. And for us, we have made a lot of decisions that have been an unequivocal yes. So for example, we started as a green supplement. We moved into an energy drink. That's a pretty bold move. Like a greens powder going into an energy drink. And when we presented that, we presented all the data behind it and the reasons and the gut feel all together, it was an amazing success. Like I would say we're over 1 year into our beverage journey, which is pretty new. And today we are the top 5 energy drink brand in mass, which is incredible. And we just launched Bloom Pop about 6 months ago. We're already number 3 in the category. So to me, when you think through all of those moments and you guys all feel and you hold hands and you say, yes, this is the right decision, it can only go in one direction.
Yeah, that's awesome. Congratulations too on being number 3 in the category with just 1 year in. That's incredible. So love that. All right, so let's think about this one. South by Southwest is the ultimate attention economy environment. And it's loud and everyone is trying to be bold. So Katelyn, at Pizza Hut, you're managing a massive heritage brand. It's iconic if we're being, for real there. And Kathy, at Waterloo, you're often the challenger in the room. How do you stay impossible to ignore without becoming just another brand adding to the noise? And is there a recent campaign where you intentionally chose not to do the obvious thing in order to stand out?
Yeah, I think for us, it is true, right? We play in a $7 billion sparkling water category, and all the large CPGs are in the category. So one of the things that we did as we were trying to figure out, and we don't call it an ad campaign, it's a brand campaign. And our brand campaign is watered down nothing, right? We sit in a water category, but the brand campaign is watered down nothing because as you think about it, we know based on our consumer base, they go all in on life. We said, as us, as a challenger brand, an emerging brand, go in, right? Rip up the PowerPoint slide when you're about to walk into Walmart and go ask them for national distribution. And that's the way we ended up getting national distribution. We told our CEO after we did it, and he's like, how'd it go? I was like, I'll let you know. But the idea too, as you think about partnerships, influencers, Guy Fieri was our partner last year on our limited time offer. Not really too difficult to explain to the press why someone like Guy Fieri stands for Flavor Town and goes all in on life. is a part of your brand campaign of water down nothing. So holistically, one of the things we've said is got to stay true to that. It's not about the ad that's out there that says it. It's how you operate. It's how the employees operate. And it's really about everything we do goes through that lens.
I mean, for me and for the Pizza Hut team, I think the most recent example that comes to mind where we actually chose to do nothing and a lot of brands chose to glob on was, I mean, you've all seen it, I'm sure, but the burger taste videos, so cringy. Where, I mean, everybody under the sun has responded poking fun at McDonald's, but I think at the end of the day, if you step back, it's all kind of embarrassing, frankly. Like, no one needs it. No one asked for it. Like, let's just let that die off. We would much prefer to find those distinctive, ownable moments that nobody else can latch onto. Like, really take a look at what are distinctive brand assets, our ownable equities, like Personal Pan Pizza or the buffet, where our immediate competition, they just don't have those. I mean, it would come across as very, very false. So that's typically how we think through those moments. And we'd much rather do something like a Personal Pan Pizza Tuesday, where frankly, we like doubled or tripled our day of the week traffic. It was insane. I'm so sorry for our operators because I know it was painful. Or do, you know, a Pizza Hut pop-up where there's just one seat, one table, and we could take one reservation at a time downtown in New York City. But that kind of thing, I think, is much more impactful, way more memorable, and doesn't just get washed out into the sea of sameness.
I love that too. And it's such a good way because you have a brand that's so nostalgic too. And so I love that. Really great. Thanks for sharing that with us. All right. We see how much brands are relying on the voice of the consumer today. And to the whole group, this question is for you. If the old way of building a brand was top down, controlled by a creative agency, and the new way is bottoms up, it's driven by community, it's driven by creators. Where does the brand leader actually sit? And how much of your brand's expression are you willing to give up to your fans or your critics to keep it feeling authentic? Take us to school first.
I would actually challenge the framing a little bit. Like, I don't think it's brand led or company led nor people led. I think it's a negotiation. For the brand, we want to mean something. We want to stand for something. We want to be a shortcut, a cognitive shortcut for a particular thing, whether it's every human body is an athlete, climb, clean, or whatever the case may be. And the idea there is that with that intention, that desire, we're going to put things in the world to signal that in hopes that people see it and go, yeah, I agree with it. Totally. Yeah, that's a negotiation process. Right. Now, we own the brand mark, the mark of ownership. We own the 4 Ps, product, price, place, promotion, and we own the brand kinetics, how the brand moves. But people ultimately decide, A, its meaning, B, is it congruent, and C, is it acceptable? That negotiation is like ping-ponging back and forth, this discourse that's happening. They are collectively making meaning while we are collectively signaling meaning. No one necessarily owns it. It is done well when there is congruence. It is a flaw or it is a failure when there's incongruence. The idea there is that Clifford Geertz is an anthropologist. He says that meaning is the collective property of the group. It belongs to them. The brand, being a vessel of meaning, is something that is discursively decided upon by the collective. So to your earlier point, you're asking Erica, that we have to understand how people make meaning so that when we signal it in our marketing communications, our kinetics, our partnerships, our sponsorships, and all the many manifestations by which we go to market, that it is consistently aligned with the way they see the world such that we find ourselves on the same page.
Yes.
So the short of it is that, like, I think that you can't see it as that we don't own it, or rather, we don't own it, or we don't lead it. They own it and they lead it. I think it's that, like, we have to make sure that what we're saying is translated the way we desire it to be.
Yeah.
We can't say consumers are so stupid. Like, I spent my entire career in the advertising world, on the agency side, and we'd be like, clients are so dumb. They do say it about you, clients. Clients are so dumb, and consumers are so stupid. They don't get it. They didn't get the nuances. Like, no. You said it wrong. You didn't understand how they make meaning, right? For some, a cow is leather. For others, a deity. For some, it's dinner. Which one is it? It's all of them. Mm-hmm. So you have to make sure that you're communicating that this thing is a deity. For people, it's a deity. As opposed to dinner, for people see it as a deity. When you do that, they get offended, they get pissed, and things are bad.
You're exactly right. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to say any better than that. That's for sure. But I would just add on that I do think that the brand stewards are responsible for being accurate about who makes up their customer base.
Right.
I mean, that is something that is, I mean, that's decided. That is driven by who is literally engaging with your product, with your brand, with your restaurants in our case. You know, maybe you hope, oh, we wish it was Gen Alpha. We wish it was Gen Z. It's millennial families. That is who it is. So we can also own what is the role that we need to be playing in those customers' lives. But I think beyond that, it's 100% a negotiation. And you have to be able to get comfortable with the uncomfortable nature that is releasing ownership of how that gets expressed and how that evolves over time, because it will evolve.
I totally agree with you. I think today you absolutely do have to listen to the consumer and to the community and to the creators, because that's where you'll get your biggest signal. However, at the same time, you can't just listen to that, because you have to have a brand vision. You have to have a strategy. And as a brand leader, you have to have a voice and know where you're going. Sometimes consumers don't know what they don't know, and you have to steer them there as well. So I would say you sit somewhere in the middle.
And I was just going to add on the idea of who you're partnering with from an influencer standpoint, who you're partnering from a creator standpoint. There's only like one lens we put on it. Do they drink sparkling water? Because if they do not, we don't care how many followers they have or how great the content is. So if you start there, and to Erica's point, then it gets mirrored. You're already in a place they understand the category, they understand the brand, they understand the dynamics, and that's all. Everything else you can work and partner and tailor, but at least start there. And you'd be surprised the number of people that have come to the table and they're like, no, I don't like the carbonation in sparkling water.
No.
We got a problem.
I love that. It's so great and to have an opportunity just to learn and listen to all of you. So thank you guys so much. How are we doing on time? Are we still good? Okay, amazing. So while we're here, we know that tech has changed around all of this for us in 2026, and AI, of course, is everywhere. We can't escape it in any conversation, and that consumer attention is more fragmented than ever. So if you could strip away all the tools, you could strip away all the tech, and you only had one human lever to pull to ensure your brand survives the next 3 years, what would it be? Marcus, we're going to start with you.
Take away all the tools, take away all the things. It's one human lever that you can pull. I mean, it's emotion. You know, we know this. You know, Benet and Fields did their whole study about the long and short of it, that we appeal to the emotional. In fact, if you look just the way we cognate, right? Like, think about the brain in three major systems. There's the reptilian brain. The old brain is responsible for things that we take for granted, like breathing, blinking, the whole nine. Fight or flight, associated with that. Then you have the limbic system that's associated with emotions, love, trust, loyalty, all the gooey stuff that relationships are made of, which is also associated with behavior, right? So what we feel informs what we do, right? We call it intuition. I felt the thing, so I did the thing. It's hard for us to articulate it because the part of the brain associated with articulation is the neocortex, which also associated with rationality. So what's the point here? Our job as marketers is to get people to move. Full stop. That is our job. Don't buy this, buy that. Don't go here, go there. Don't vote for him, vote for her. Don't watch his movie, watch my movie. Everything we do as marketers is to get people to move. The part of the brain associated with movement is emotion. Therefore, ergo, our job is to catalyze the emotion within people to get people to move. And guess what does that best? Brands. Because they are vessels of meaning that conjure up thoughts and feelings in the hearts and minds of people.
I love it. It always comes back to the vessels of meaning, which I think is such a good thing to ground us all in as we're thinking about it. Each of you have connected in ways, and I know you've all had successful campaigns that have run where you've kind of leveraged all of these things. So any boots on the ground, as you know, advice or guidance that you can share?
I was just going to add, though, the connection and the emotion translates over time to loyalty, right? And at the end of the day, right, you get two levers. You got to go get more households and hope they buy more, right? And so I think when you think about that emotional connection, the best emotional connection is going to make someone say, it's my brand. And I think if you get to it's my brand or that's my brand, you've done a nice job.
I would add to that, remembering your brand's why. Like as you grow as a brand or you expand or your category gets stale and you need to find something else, remember why you created the brand or, you know, why you're there and steer alongside that. because that's going to be like the heart of the emotion to why people gravitate towards your brand.
Your answers are very poetic. I was going to say, and am going to say, like, find time to literally shut off your computer and go and get face to face with your customer. Like, for me, that means go park yourself in a restaurant and work from there for the day. Like, literally see who your customer is with your own two eyes, have a conversation with them. I think it really humanizes the massive data set that we spend all day working with, that we buy our media against. It helps add that color, the texture, the nuance that I think is what we need more of. And especially with AI, is that risk of being lost that ultimately can culminate into that emotional connection.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I think that takes care of all of my questions. So you know what? I'm going to turn it over to you because I feel like you have all the guidance and advice. I want you to give us a piece of advice or a little nugget of information that everyone in this room can take with them today. You've already given us so many, but I actually want to go enroll myself in the University of Michigan right now.
And you absolutely should. You absolutely should. We're the #2 marketing program in the country, just so you know that.
That's incredible. That's incredible. I am a diehard Longhorn, but I'm thinking about it right now.
I know where I am. I should be quiet. So, I mean, if I were to leave you thinking is this, I've spent my entire career as a marketer, mostly on the advertising side, but as a marketer, I wrote a book 3 years ago that retired me from the advertising industry. Thank God. I love advertising, but thank God. But what I've realized in the 2.5 years, 3 years that I've been working with brands, not within an agency context, but as Marcus, the practitioner, scholar, what I've realized is that the biggest challenge with marketing and marketers and our marketing, it actually has nothing to do with our talent, our skill set, our know-how, or technology. The biggest issue is the organizational culture. That we're trying to optimize the front end of the house. Think of this as a production. The front end of the house, we're trying to have the best actors with the best costumery, the best the best lighting, the best props, the best stage possible to put on the best show. But our ability to operate to our fullest fidelity in the front stage is completely dependent on our ability to optimize the backstage. And that's something that we do not think about. We don't think about it. We go, how do I engage in culture? How do I tap into culture? How do I hijack culture? And all these exploitative things to think about culture, as opposed to, well, how do I engage in it? Well, that requires everything that these brilliant folks have said today. It requires intimacy, getting close, being curious, being empathetic. Those things aren't skill sets as much as they are shared imaginations of how the organization operates. If you want to be better in the front stage, get better in the backstage. If you want to be better at engaging in the cultural consumption of the population, of your target, of your audience, get better at the organizational culture of your company, whether you're on the client side or the agency side. That is the biggest impediment. I've worked with some of the biggest brands in the world where the idea is right there. The strategy is written so beautifully. The creative ideas are crushing, but they stumble over themselves to put those things in the world. Not because of talent, not because of know-how, not because of skill set, not because of technology, but because of the collective operating system that is the organization's culture. You take a brand like McDonald's. I had the pleasure of being a part of that work after it launched, was at White & Kennedy. Though Wyden brought them brilliant ideas of fan-to-fan being the strategy, the brilliant work was actually the work McDonald's did to say, we're going to stop talking to consumers like a corporation. We're going to talk to them like fans talking to a fan. And you know what? If we're going to engage them like fans, then we need to learn to share the pen, which means that we have to be much more courageous, right? It's about being courageous about our ideas. And their business changed. I know Jesse's coming on soon from Chili's. They did the exact same thing. They changed the way the organization operates, which changed their marketing, which massively changed their business. Chili's is effing crushing right now, but it's not because of the talent in the building. It's because of how the talent in the building engages in the collective production of work. That is the most important conversation that we aren't having as an industry, which is why the industry is not doing as well as we ought to be.
I love that. You guys, he took it. I feel like you really took us to school today. We all learned a lot, but really it wouldn't have been anything without all of your expertise and all of the wisdom from all of you. So thank you so much for everything today. And just thanks for all the learnings and thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you, Amy. You were great. Thank you.
Thank you.
I stepped in last minute, so sorry for having to look at the cards, but thanks everybody.
Great. Thank you all so much. It's awesome.